Morning, John.
Morning, Brian.
You're going to talk to us about men's rosary.
That's right. The men's rosary. There's a men's rosary takes place, I think, on the third Saturday of every month, and has been going on now for the past 12 months or more. And it takes place in cities, towns, throughout the country. I was at one in Athlone there in last year, early last year, and for one reason I haven't been able to get back too much because I've been doing other things. But there was when we do the men's rosary, it's an effort to sort of for men to sort of come together, and some of them are able to kneel. Well, I didn't kneel, but in Athlone, we said the rosary. The men said the rosary, and it was supposed to take place in what they call the market square near where the cathedral or the church is. But it was a funeral, so we had to march down, and the priest that was supposed to have a statue of the Blessed Mother or a Blessed Lady was when he went to look for us, the place was locked and he hadn't got a key. So we marched down the town and had said the men's rosary, where there was a statue of a Blessed Lady in a car park further down the town, and very well done, and flowers around it and all the rest of it. And there was about 30, 40 men. And then others joined it of a younger variety, and it was quite good. I even got saying a decade of the rosary, the fourth decade. I think it was the joyful mysteries, or maybe it was the resurrection mysteries on that particular. I know it'd be the joyful on a Saturday, so I got saying the fourth, even though I wasn't from Athlone. So that was my experience. Now, my friend that I spent Christmas with in Palmerstown, my good friend Im Condon, he goes into North Earl Street to have the men's rosary in there every at the third Saturday and say it there, and some people joined him, and because it's in the city you get other ones that are anti-Catholic. Now this is where I'm coming about the men's rosary. There was a difficulty arose in Limerick. There's men's rosary there because Limerick, my mother was from Limerick, and I'm very familiar with Limerick, and I know it pretty good, and I've been in it umpteen times. And so the men were saying the rosary there in a particular part of Limerick, which was under alterations for roadworks, the usual stuff going on in nearly every town and village. These roadworks widening footpaths and narrowing it for traffic. They don't seem to like cars, the Green Party especially. In any event, so they had it in another venue, I think Thomas Street, which I know. And it's a good long street. Now, there was another crowd. There was a girl murdered by an immigrant from Romania that was the father of about 5 children and supplied with a house and all the rest of it in Escorty. And this teacher, a lovely looking girl, was jogging or wherever she was at along the canal, and this fella, apparently she was murdered. But he was the one, I think he was a Muslim or whatever, he certainly wasn't a Catholic. But in Limerick, a crowd had a secular type of a crowd, feminists, or they had the name Ross or whatever it was. They had been having a ceremony about this girl that was murdered in an Escorty. Now, so they had their thing, and then, but the men's rosary was they'd already indicated they would be having it in Thomas Street in Limerick, and but this other crowd decided to have a meeting. The street was quite long, they could have had it anywhere, but they had it they come beside where the men were saying the rosary. And they started interfering with the men's rosary and using 4-letter words. Absolutely an abomination. And women mostly. So, and the next thing is that these ones that were causing all this trouble for the men, they were saying the Rosary, they had a little loudspeaker so as they could, they always had it, but it was normal, it wasn't extra loud. But this crowd, the usual crowd that caused the problem and abuse, complained to the media. And of course the media being anti-Catholic, take anything even from anybody that they should have checked their facts. But they started criticising the men with the Rosary, and the men that say the Rosary are not extremists, they're ordinary Joe Soaps, ordinary people, and doing something good as family men. So News Talk interviewed, well no, that was another thing. They criticised the men's Rosary, but the evidence then was brought out that it was the other way about. But the harm was done because you have the anti-Catholic media and the anti-Catholic government, which they are with the laws they brought in and what they're at. So here we are. So the men's Rosary, which is good. It's obvious to anybody that they would have any kind of common sense or decency in them at all. But the media doesn't seem to have that. They believed the ones that don't believe in anything would be anti-Catholic and anti-Christian. So when the truth came out, apologies when the harm is done is a little bit too late. Bad news travels, good news doesn't. This is what I'm saying about the men's Rosary in Limerick. And Limerick, I was in Limerick one time when there was prayer said it was all over the country, in different parts near rivers or something. There a couple of years ago, a few years ago, before this old COVID business, when you couldn't go anywhere nearly. So these are what the men are doing is good, but they've been vindicated, and they will continue to do so, because if they were to sort of listen to the media and all the rest of it, they do nothing, but they're doing good. And Limerick is a nice city and a good city, but it's been contaminated by some people that are now becoming emboldened because of the silence of our bishops and archbishops and priests about these matters. So that's the situation, and it obviously didn't happen. It happened maybe a while ago, but has been reported in one of the magazines I read from the pro-life movement, the Life Institute, and they have a magazine that they produce every so often, and it's full of good facts. And they have they have a website called Gripped, and they're doing very good. Apparently millions of people, views, have looked at them, so they're a counter to the other media bias towards the Catholic and Christian faith. This is the business about the men's Rosary, and it has to be commended, and I hope to sort of take place in one of them now, as my health is improving and the weather is perhaps hopefully getting better, although it's a bit of cold weather at the moment. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you very much, John.